Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. This is going to be my second update, and I am this year working on 4 eyeshadows in this project, where my goal is to either use the eyeshadows 15 times or to hit pan on them. And yeah, I do have a few more rules, but I talked about those in my instructions, so if you want to check that out, please do. But without any further ado, I'm going to jump into the video. Before that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. But let's just jump into the video. So, like I said, I'm working on 4 eyeshadows in this project. I'm going to start with the ones that have been in for the longest. So, the first eyeshadow that I have to talk about comes from my Sultry palette by Anastasia. And I'm working on the shade Bloom in here, which is that kind of peachy, kind of pinky shade, I guess. And this is what it looked like when I first rolled it in. I guess it's more of a coral, but yeah, that is what it looked like. And yeah, last month I had to use this 4 times, so I had 11 more uses to go, and this is what it looks like now. So you can see I don't have pan on it, however I have used this 15 times and I am nowhere near pan. I'm now starting to get a tiny bit of a dip, if you can call it a dip, but this is so hard pressed that I am nowhere near pan, and this will probably take me 50 uses to hit pan on. So I'm glad to have the 15 uses rule when it comes to this, because that would stay in forever. But yeah, I have used it 15 times, so this will actually be rolling out because I did hit that goal. So that is the first eyeshadow. The second eyeshadow that has also been in for 2 months is a single eyeshadow from Cleona, and that is the Jewel Multichrome in the shade World, which is a beautiful multichrome that goes from like it goes from like a mauve kind of tone to more of a golden and then to a green, and it's absolutely stunning. I really like this one. As of the last update, I had used this 5 times and this is what it looked like. And with this, I'm not really trying to hit pan because I love these Cleona eyeshadows and I'm trying to be quite gentle with them. So I'm mainly just going to hit my 15 uses goal on these eyeshadows. But in the past month, I actually only used an additional 1 time, so I'm now at 5 uses, which isn't great, but this is what it looks like now. So you can definitely see that I've used it, but there's no dip or anything, but I have evened out the pattern on top and things like that. But yeah, you can kind of see the shift, I think, right there. It goes from that mauve tone to that, maybe, I think you can pick up on that green a little bit. I'm trying to make it shift. So I have now used it 6 times and I have 9 more to go, and hopefully I'll be able to roll this out by next update. I'm really going to try to, and this is probably going to be one of my focus eyeshadows because I don't really want any eyeshadows to be in this project more than 3 months. And yeah, this one's already been in for 2 months now. The next 2 eyeshadows I both rolled in at the last update, and the first one comes from my Odenzai Elva palette, and that is the shade Jasmine, which looks like this. It's the lightest shade in the palette, and it's more of a really light transition shade for me. It works really nicely. I'm actually wearing this today on my eyes. I'm actually also wearing Bloom on my outer corner, which you might be able to pick up on. And so far in the past month, I have used it 13 times, and this is what it looks like now. So I have not quite hit my 15 uses, which is a bit annoying, but also I don't really mind, because you might be able to see that I have a little bit of a dip. I'm trying to show you. And I really just want to hit pan on this eyeshadow because I've had a few eyeshadows in this project this year that are either like really special to me and I don't want to hit pan on it, similar to the Cleona eyeshadows and the next one I'm going to show you. Or like the shade from Anastasia, like the Bloom shade. I also had a Anastasia matte, and those have all been really difficult shades to work on, and I haven't really had a good opportunity to hit pan on them, but I think this is probably one of the easiest ones that I probably will be able to hit pan on. It's going to take a while, but it's something that I can use every single day. So I'm going to continue working on it, and hopefully next month I will be able to hit pan on it, and if not, I might roll it out then. I'm going to give it another month and hopefully I can hit my goal by then. So that is the shade Jasmine by Odenzai. Then the last shade that I have in this project is a single eyeshadow from Terra Moons, and this is in the shade Rabidium. This is the beautiful eyeshadow, and yeah, I really love this one, and this is what it looked like when I first rolled it in. It's the most sparkliest kind of formula. I really love these. I have 3 of them that are the same, but this is what eyeshadow looks like now, and as you can see, I have a pretty decent dip going. It is also the eyeshadow that I'm wearing on my lids today. It's really stunning, and I have actually used it 15 times today, so this one will be rolling out as well. Since this is one of my indie kind of eyeshadows and it's relatively new to my collection, I don't want to hit pan on it yet, so I'm happy to roll it out after 15 uses, and I'm gonna do so. So that is the 4th and final eyeshadow, and this will be rolling out as well. So before I roll in my new shades, I want to show you the eyeshadows that are still in here as well as the ones that I rolled out. So these are the two that I rolled out. We have Bloom from Anastasia as well as Rabidium from Terra Moons, and yeah, that is the two that are rolling out. And here we have the two eyeshadows staying in. So we have Weld from Cleona, which is a beautiful multichrome, as well as Jasmine from Odenzai, which is that light transition that I mentioned. So those are the four shades that I have been working on, and those are the two that are staying in. So let's go ahead and randomize two new eyeshadows. So I have 1 to 829, and I'm going to go ahead and randomize two numbers, and the first one is going to be number 365. Okay, so 365 is a really exciting one. This comes from Naked Tutorials and Beauty Bay palette, and it's the shade Underground, which is one of the shimmers in that palette. And I definitely think I should be able to hit pan on that in 15 uses, so that's a really good one, and I'm happy rolling that one in. The second number is going to be number 127. Okay, so 127 comes from my Going Coconut palette, and it is the shade Lovely Bunch, which might be too similar to something that I'm panning in my Modern Renaissance palette. I actually have that palette here because of another video I'm going to film, which should have gone up my last video. But Lovely Bunch, I'm going to show you now, is this transition shade right here. And although it's probably not exactly the same as some of the shades in my Modern Renaissance palette, I am going to re-roll because this is a shade that I would interfere with my use on that palette, and that is one of my rules this year, so I'm going to go ahead and re-roll for that shade. So I'm going to go ahead and roll another number, which is going to be 190, which is very close to that. So it should be another Colourpop palette, but let's see what it is. Oh, it's actually from one of my newest Colourpop palettes that I got from my friend Martina. This is from the At Forest Sight palette, which is the collaboration with Raw Beauty Christie, and it is in the shade Rainer, which I have no idea what shade that is. It might be like a reddish, like a burgundy shade, but I'm not sure. But that is going to be the eyeshadow, I think, unless it's like a reddish tone, it should be fine. So I'm just going to pull it out and see what it is, and if it's again too close to something in my Modern Renaissance palette, I will let you know, but for now that is going to be my second shade. Okay, so I'm back and I have my Foresight palette here together with my Modern Renaissance palette, because I think the shade Rainer is very close to some of the shades that I'm panning, because I looked at the shade and it is this one right here, which is like a reddish brown, like a deep brownish tone, which I think is very, very similar to the shade Red Ochre, which is, I'm gonna try not to spoil much in my palette, but this shade right here, or the shade Realgar, which is the shade down there. So because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and re-roll again. I swatched them earlier just on my fingers and they look basically the same. So because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and re-roll because I don't want to interfere with my Modern Renaissance panning by rolling things into this project. So yeah, that is the Rainer shade, and I'm gonna go ahead and re-roll. So let's pick another number, and that is gonna be number 785, which should be one of my singles. So let's see what that is. Okay, so 785 should definitely be fine. It's another one of my Terra Moons singles, and it's in the shade Azores Skies, which I'm pretty sure is a blue shade, so that should be no problem rolling in because it doesn't interfere with my Modern Renaissance palette. So I'm gonna get that and I will be right back. So I'm back and I have my two shades, which now are fine. So the first one comes from my Naked Tutorials and Beauty Bay palette, and it is in the shade Underground, which is a beautiful shimmer, which is one that I don't have pan on in this palette yet, and it is this one up here. I'm definitely excited to work on this. I think this is going to be quite an easy one to pan on because these eyeshadows aren't very deep. So hopefully this is definitely one I can aim for pan rather than use 15 uses. So that's really nice. But I'm just going to swatch it out for you so you can see what it looks like. So there you have Underground. It's a really pretty kind of cool tone shimmer. It's actually not too dissimilar from Rabidium, although Rabidium is much more shinier and it's a little bit more golden, whereas this is a bit more cool toned. But that is going to be the first shade that I'm rolling in. The second shade that I'm rolling in is, like I said, a single from Terra Moons, and that is the shade Azores Skies, which I was right is a blue, and it's a really pretty kind of unique shade of blue, I would say. It's almost a little bit more turquoise, but it's still very blue, and it's such a vibrant shade. But it's going to be really fun to wear now in spring, so I don't mind rolling this in, and I actually haven't used this on my eyes, so that's exciting. But I doubt that I will be pan on this in 15 uses, but we'll see how it goes. But that is going to be the last shade that I'm rolling in. And there you have Azores, guys. I think you can tell how bright it is. I think this might be one of their neon mattes because it's so bright. But that is the last shade I'm rolling in, and that is going to be my color story for March. So yeah, those are the shades that I'm going to work on. I'm really excited. I'm excited about both of the shades that I rolled in, and I'm excited to have a bit of a different color story because obviously the last two shades that I rolled out, although Rabidium and Underground is quite similar, the shade Azores, guys, definitely switches up the color story, and so does rolling out Bloom. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But before I wrap up the video, I'm just going to go through some of the looks that I did in the past month, and yeah, then we're going to call it a day. But let me switch to the side. I'm going to put up some of the pictures of the looks that I wore in the past month. So some of these looks I'm just going to breeze over because I'm basically just wearing one or two shades in them. So the first one is this one right here, which is a look where I used Bloom on the outer corner, and I paired that with some more kind of peachy shades in my crease, as well as a shade from my Novena palette, which was my product Level Up palette, on my lid. So that is going to be the first look. Again, I'm just going to breeze over these because I didn't use too many shades. So here's another look where I used Bloom. I paired it with more kind of neutral crease rather than those bright cool tones. And then on my lid I'm wearing a Jade Glow eyeshadow, which is in the shade Peachy Keen, which is a beautiful peachy shade that shifts into a green, and it's really hard to see the shift on camera, but yeah, it's a beautiful look. And on my kind of inner corner and lower lash line I'm also wearing the shade Rabidium, which is one way that I use it quite a lot. I also use it on my lids quite a lot, like similar to how I did today. But yeah, that is one of the next looks. Then next up we have this look right here, which is a look where I've used Rabidium all over my lids. And with this look I've paired it more with kind of browns rather than like the peachy tones that I'm doing today. And all of the mattes in this look comes from my Modern Renaissance palette, and I did like a really nice layered smoke kind of look with the Rabidium on my lids, and I really enjoy this look, and that's also how I wore Rabidium a few times. And to be honest, I think those are the only looks I'm going to talk about because I did loads of versions of these looks, but I didn't really do anything super adventurous. I also used Weld as a liner once, but I don't think I have a good photo of that. And you couldn't really shift to the shift, but that's the way I used it this past month, and I think I'm going to use it again that way in the next month because I'm really going to focus on that eyeshadow. But yeah, I think that is all the looks that I'm going to talk about. So that is it for this video. If you did like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think of my new color story, and if you have any ideas of how to use these shades. So that is it. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I'll talk to you in my next one. Bye guys.